Love it.
All right. Well, that's it. It says we are live on Amazon. We're, of course, live on other platforms as well. But let's get rid of let's put the right slide up. Get rid of the right slide. There we go. I can run a mouse. So we are
Scott, I'm
live
confident you
on
can run a mouse.
Amazon. That's right. We are live on Amazon. Lindsay Anderson. She has just published a new book, and it is highlighted in the carousel. It's the Unlaunch Method. And so I love to do these without introductions, without countdowns, because we're not going to have enough time to go through your 20 plus year history and everything, Lindsay, that you have brought to coaches and consultants. And I love actually that you have refined who you talk to. But let's just get right into this. Let's talk a little bit about the book, and then let's get back into your background and bring us up to date. So, Lindsay Anderson, the Unlaunch Method, congratulations.
D. Scott, thank you so much. Yeah, I'm so excited to be here today. You know, you and I have a long history together, and I appreciate your support after all these years. I think you were around even for my first book called The Click Technique, which was about 6 years ago, where I talk about how to how to just do some digital marketing and build an email list and keep people engaged. But my latest book, The Unlaunch Method, really takes a different angle on it from the aspect of social media, and not just how to attract a high quality audience on social media, but how to actually get that audience buying stuff from you instead of just posting and praying. We don't want any posting and praying going on. So I've developed this methodology called the Unlaunch Method over the past 20 years, helped hundreds of people implement it. Highly effective. Anyone can do it. Perfect for your business if you're, scaling to 1 million and beyond, or just getting started. So it's step by step. I try to be really strategic there in the book.
I'm going to tell people, click on the book, because it'll open a tab and add to cart. Just add to cart. We're going to go through this. And one of the things, Lindsay, that I like about your book is that it addresses one problem and gives me practical steps. And at the end of every chapter, there's a summary of steps to take that we learned in that chapter. And this is what I recommend. Get a pad of paper, real paper, real pencil, real pen, and read your book. You can sit down and dedicate some time to your business, read your book, take notes, and go, this is how I'm going to do it for my business. This is how I'm going to do it for my business. How did you come up with the Unlaunch Method?
Well, for the longest time, for those that aren't familiar, launching, which is like you do this big 5-day event, you got to have like 500 people. Like, this can be very effective for your business. I built my business based on launching, but it's very draining. You have to have a lot of resources to pull it off well. You have to have a bigger audience. And so as I did this, I realized there's a real need for, what if I don't have a huge audience? What if I sell something super high ticket that doesn't respond to launches? What if I'm a real estate agent or an agent of some sort trying to sell something else where like a launch isn't really going to work? The Unlaunch Method, which really is social media to an invite-only event, which is a 54-minute webinar that you give on rinse and repeat, to a high-quality sales call, was the answer. And it, like I said, it works for every stage of business. So I came up with it because there was a real need. You can't be launching every single week. Okay. To get those customers, you have to have something to do in between to get those people out of what I call the marketing washing machine and ready to buy from you. So it took 20 years of blood, sweat, and tears, D. Scott.
Speaking of 20 years, Stephen Caggiano, the famous Stephen Caggiano over on Amazon, says, we have time. Let's hit all 20 years.
Is that what he says?
Yeah. He said, let's hit all 20 years. Well, I'm just going to say, anyone that's involved in business, and in a moment, I want to talk about who you're speaking to, because you do talk a lot about niching down, and I want to talk about that in a moment. But anyone that's in business, especially doing an online business, is going to get hit with, because of the algorithms, and it's fine, but they're going to get hit with every method that's out there about how to grow your business, get more leads. Um, but which ones are going to work? And you've tried and implemented and seen many of them over the
Yeah.
years. And what's one of the keys?
Thanks for noticing. One of my true loves, which by the way, make sure you click on the link. The book is free till Friday. So grab that on your Kindle for sure. But that is one of my strengths that I bring to the online business industry is that I love digital marketing. I have implemented all the courses that you have ever taken. I've done the live launching. I've done the tiny offers. I have done the membership sites. I've done it all. D. Scott has watched me do it all. And I have happened to have the resources and the knowledge to actually, and the audience to actually implement and test and see what actually works and what is useful. And, all of those methods have pros and cons, but I think
Mhm,
the number one thing that all the methods out there, the ones that I mentioned and all the ones you're going to learn, okay, they bring to you one of two things. Either they're bringing you some lead gen, hey, go set up a
mhm,
YouTube channel and record all these videos and you'll build an audience. Or they bring to you sales, which is if you have an audience, this is how you can get sales, whether it's a conversion event to a sales call, whatever it is. But I have, my special skill is I will help you build the audience of high quality people and sell to them. So it's really these two prongs is what makes it so unique and so powerful and special because a lot of people get into those other, like, oh, I'm going to do a launch. And then they're like, crickets for my audience. I don't have anyone to talk to, you know?
mhm.
So this marries both of them. I really it's a full on it's what you need to build that audience and make sales literally.
Well, again, people, here we go. Let's put this up because we are talking with Lindsay Anderson. There's the book, The Unlaunch Method, and it is a step-by-step system. I've gone through the book. I have known Lindsay for years, and this distills down a, everything that I've seen going on in her business, which is a successful business. This is not somebody who doesn't know what's going on. But click on the book. It's free. Free is a very good price, according to our old friend Tom
I
Peterson here
guarantee I can make
in
it
the
more than
Northwest.
that. You know what I mean? You implement what's in that book.
And so click on the book, add it to your cart, and then spend some time this week. Don't wait. Don't put this book on the shelf and go, I'm going to read it sometime. Do it, get it, read it tonight is probably the best time to do it. uh, Early on in the book you talk about the belief in yourself, and so let's go to the mindset that's necessary to be an entrepreneur, and then talk about your 3 S's.
Okay. So I love these questions. So, I was just talking to a group of leaders and business executives this morning, and I shared the same idea, which is the fact is that your business is really a mirror. It's a reflection about how you truly feel about yourself. And this is the case for sales. This is the case for social media. This is the case for how you're even running your business and how organized or if you show up every day is really it's a reflection of how you truly feel about yourself. So, uh, in order to build a successful business, certainly you need the strategies, but you have to believe that you are capable of all of this. You have to believe that you're a professional and that you can reach big things and have $1 million business and make all these sales, and that the value that you're bringing to the marketplace will demand those prices and that you can easily command those because you're worst you're the toughest sell is you yourself, okay? And it's
Mhm,
easy enough like on a sales call. Like let me just paint an example. You show up to a sales call and maybe you've done a little social media sleuthing on this guy, okay? And you're like, he'll never buy my program. He can't afford me. No way he's buying this. How are you showing up to that call like this? You're showing up small. He's not buying anyway. That is that energy will absolutely lose you that sale. And so you have to know deep down inside, and that takes personal work. That means clarity comes from action and just like doing it anyway and asking yourself, what would that perfect future version of me be doing right now and make that your reality. And then your reality that you actually want will come into view really quick.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. So many people go to networking events and they wonder why they're there. And I'll tell
Yeah.
you, you wouldn't be there if you didn't have something to offer. And I if you have a business, you have to believe that you're solving problems for people and they need you. Because I often say it's a troubled world out there. Those people have problems, but they're also looking for solutions.
Yeah.
And you've got to be able to share what you have. So you know that you got to have that mindset. You got to believe that you're capable, that you have a good solution. You know you help people. So start with that. Then this three S's. You just I love the way this lays out.
Yeah. Thank you. So, you need 3 S's in order to really scale your business and be successful and make the sales that you need in order to build your business because I hate to be a downer here, but like business is about sales. If you don't have enough leads to make enough sales, like then you have a hobby on your hands, okay?
Right.
And so most so you need 3 S's in order to scale your business. The first one is strategy. Lots of people have strategy. Like D. Scott, a fellow marketer. Like we could sit and crack up and a million amazing strategies for everybody right now that you'd be like, that's the best idea that I've ever heard. But there's a big difference between strategy, which you'll get from a lot of people, and actually the second S, which is systems.
Hmm.
And so you have a strategy. What are the systems that's actually going to make that strategy work? Because a lot like your health and wellness, the workout I do today, the 30 minutes I do today determines my health and wellness 3 to 6 months from now. And your business building and your sales and your leads are exactly the same way. What you do in that 30 minutes to an hour today, profit producing tasks, moving that strategy ahead will determine what's up with your business 3 to 6 months from now. And so it's a longer term vision and it's the systems when you show up every day to actually implement, like a business is real emotional. Sometimes you don't feel like working, sometimes you don't feel like showing up. But if you have a system in place and you know what to do, then you'll be able to have the business you want 3 to 6 months from now. So you've got to be like, what do I do every day in order to actually
Hmm.
execute that strategy? So strategy and systems, and then of course sales. Sales is the lifeblood of every business, and really every strategy and system you have, you need to view that through the lens of sales. A lot of the people that are attracted to me, they're speakers, they're experts, they're coaches, they're consultants, and they have like a lot of ideas. Typically, these are tip of the spear kind of people, like, give it to me, I'll do it, I'm ready, a new idea, this is so awesome and amazing. And you're too busy executing 55,000 ideas because
Hmm.
you hate being bored, you hate the repetition, that you don't view them through sales. If you look at every opportunity you have through a sales perspective, then it's pretty easy to make these decisions on where you
Yeah.
should be spending your time in a day. So, strategy, system, and a focus on sales. That's how you're going to get there. You got to have all three. So, if you're reading a book like mine, click on the link, it's in the carousel, or you're signing up for a program or something, make sure they have those three things. Make sure they
Hmm.
have those three things.
Yeah. As Mark Cuban says, sales cures all.
Oh, yeah, that's good. Yeah. I
Right?
mean,
Sales
amen, Mark
cures
Cuban.
all. And there's a guy who knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
sales cures all. And yeah, a lot of people spend, you ask them, "Whoa, what are you doing on your business?" And it's like months working on their website, or and it's like, great, you may need a website maybe for your business. I don't know, depends on the business,
It
but sales
definitely
cures
depends.
all. And James Clear, author of Atomic Habits, I love the quote. He says, "We don't rise to the level of our goals; we fall to the level of our systems." Right? And this is
Yes.
like, I want to have a $1 million business. And by the way, in the carousel is also the Millionaire Maker Show. And so you can watch that or tune into that podcast right here on Amazon as well. Uh, but we fall to the level of our systems
Isn't
because
that true?
Just saying, I want to have a $1 million business, great. But what do? You got to have that strategy. Then you have a system, and then you got to convert them into sales. And this goes back to what we mentioned before. You need to solve a significant problem for a defined audience.
It's true.
And
It's true.
John Lee Dumas, I mean, the guy, Entrepreneurs on Fire, his podcast, fabulous. He defined his audience down to calling him Jimmy. And every decision that he made was, what does Jimmy want? Would Jimmy listen to this? And let's talk about niching down, because you've done that yourself.
I
And
sure have.
I've seen you do this. So let's talk about how you do that, why you do that, and what the results were for you when you niched your business down.
Yeah, and I think, and I think you'll agree with me, D. Scott, is that niching gets like a bad rap because everyone hears it and like, it's like this, it's a little fuzzy out here. It's like, I don't know. And I don't, people are afraid that if they niche down, that they're going to lose out on opportunity, that they're going to miss out on all these sales, or that the niche is too small. But, I'm glad you brought this up, and John Lee Dumas and Jimmy, because the real cornerstone of the Unlaunch method is this philosophy that I call your one true client. And basically, this is how you niche down, because it's more than niching. Niching is like demographics and where people hang out, but it gets more complicated than that. You need niching, you need messaging, the words you say, which is the bait to attract the other clients that you want to attract, and positioning, where you are in the marketplace. Am I upper right hand quadrant, meaning do I sell to a high quality, high cost individual, or am I like a lower left hand quadrant to a low cost, low quality individual? Quality meaning like how much time you're willing to spend with them and what kind of problem you're trying to solve. And so
Mhm.
business owners and entrepreneurs, they struggle with this idea of niching. But honestly, if you read the book, which click on the link in the carousel, it's free till Friday,
Free,
you'll
free,
find
free,
my one
free.
true client method. And it's easy. Okay. These 3 advanced marketing principles in one post-it note is what I like to say. So you find your one true client in your experience, that client who is in your experience that you would love to make cookie cutter versions of. And if you could, your business would be amazing. And you pick one and only one true client. Now, and then, well, I'll just finish the method. One true client, and then everything you do, just like you mentioned with John Lee Dumas, every social media post you write, every webinar you give, everything you write. What would Shirley think about this? And if Shirley is saying, why are you selling something so much lower cost than you sold me? Why is this applicable to me? I'm bored now. Or that's unprofessional. Like, why are you in your jammies online when I pay you $10,000? Okay. You just run it through that filter. But people really struggle with that. They make 2 mistakes, D. Scott, with this. Number one, okay, everyone listen up. Lots of people pick themselves. Well, I am
Mm.
my one true client and I would buy this from myself. And the problem is that big and it's amazing. You cannot sell to yourself. You think you're more brilliant than you are. It just like it will not work. You're way too close to it. And the other thing that they will do is they will Frankenstein 2 people together. They'll say, well, I like the way Joe paid me and the way Sally actually had the results that I
Mhm.
wanted. So I'm just going to check in with both of them. But the fact is, you cannot sell to someone who is not in your experience. So you pick someone in your experience, you check in with them, and you get new clients, and you keep changing your one true client to go upper right hand, even more quality, quality. But it has to be in your experience. And that's kind of how I teach it in the book. And it's a very iterative process. I'm always picking a new one true client. That's how
I
you've
love
seen
it.
me do this. Yeah, it's how you've seen me make these changes, is because it's like, now I'm
Mhm.
serving this kind of person. That's who I want to attract. I'm gonna start talking to them.
Yeah, because when we first met, you would say that you serve coaches and consultants.
That's right.
How would you typify what you do today?
Yeah,
Is it
so
coaches and consultants, or?
definitely coaches and consultants. Like, I'm not counting those guys out, but experts, speakers, and agents, like real
Mm,
estate agents, insurance agents, anybody selling high ticket services that you're looking for a high quality lead source on social media,
mhm.
read this book.
Excellent, excellent. And, we talked about the Millionaire Maker. podcast, and you have this graphic in the book, and I'm going to put it up. It's a little fuzzy, but I will tell people in the free book that you can get right now, if you click on the link in the carousel, and it's highlighted right there. It's highlighted the unlaunch method. Just go down, click on it, add to cart, buy it. It's free, so that's pretty good deal. Share it with your friends because until Friday, they can get it for free as well. You can be the hero. Okay, hey,
Be
I
the
found this great
hero.
book. I want
Yeah.
and I want to do this. This millionaire maker online business blueprint. There's a top funnel. There's a bottom. It goes down to the one-on-one. I'll tell people it is much clearer in the book, and there's some great verbiage around this. But you recommend people to start with the one-on-one.
Yeah. So, as you put that image up, it's a very standard digital marketing funnel. Like, I was just on a call with a young woman, and she's like, I got 10 lead magnets. And it's like, are any of them bringing you customers? And she's like, okay. So a
Mm,
lot of digital marketers will teach you, and like, this is what the going thing is like, you make a freebie lead magnet, and then you get their email address, and then you can nurture them through email, and then you can get them to buy all of your stuff. It just doesn't work that great, because and the reason why is because if you are starting with your lead magnet and trying to sell something, you're working backwards. You got to figure out what to sell first and hear what your client is saying about it. Then you can get yourself to a lead magnet. All right. And also, if you're giving away all this free stuff, you are not making money. The fact is, to make money and to get that kind of information from your one true client and to be working like hand to hand combat with people, you are working one on one. And that's how you charge the highest rates. That's how you develop your expertise. That's how you create your sales systems. It's all one on one. But a lot of people like to skip that because they're like, I'm better than one on one. I want to do group coaching, or it's easier to
mhm.
sell, a low cost offer, like all these reasons. But the answer, period, is one on one coaching.
Yeah, I love that. Lindsay Anderson's new book, The Unlaunch Method. It's free in the carousel, free Kindle. Get it right now. Read it tonight. Implement it tomorrow,
Love
and
it.
be rich by the weekend. How's that? I love that.
Now, D. Scott, the strategy, systems, and sales.
All right, all right, all right. Well, here's the thing though. This one-on-one deal, this does go counter to a lot of things because a lot of people say you got to cast this really wide net, and then you bring them down, but you don't know what you're bringing them down to because you haven't spent that one-on-one time.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, a lot of coaches, a lot of small businesses out there, a lot of entrepreneurs look at this and go, okay, yeah, I need to cast this wide net. And they're out doing paid advertising right off the bat. And they read all these things about the success of Nike. And all Nike has to do is put their little swoosh up. And what works for big businesses doesn't scale down to small businesses. You are not Nike. You can't just put your logo out there and assume that people will buy from you. This is I think this is why the one-on-one is so important.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. And honestly, Mr. Nike, whoever he was, I probably should know this, probably started selling shoes one on one. He really got to know that he wanted to develop high quality athletic shoes.
Yeah, well, we've got Phil Knight and Bill Bowerman, I believe, ruined his wife's waffle maker, making the first waffle sole
Oh, really?
for some tennis shoes. Yeah,
Yeah, who's
and
probably selling to one basketball player to see if the guy
just
even
just
liked them.
see if they worked.
Yeah.
Yeah, try it out because it's going like, and this is what entrepreneurs do, right? They see a thing and they go, I don't like the way it is, and then they're going to go out and do something to solve that problem. Uh, but maybe they're the only ones that saw that problem, but likely not. There's probably more out there, but you got to refine it. You got to refine the message and work on one is the way to do it. And that'll help you find your one true client, right? That one person, not a cobbled together uh, between 34 and 75
Yeah.
and either male or female or non-binary or, I mean, give me a break. You
Yeah,
got to talk to somebody.
yeah, they say the riches are in the niches, and they're not wrong. And the reason why
Mhm.
is because it really is about the nuance and the detail. So if I can repeat back something that my one true client said to me, like in the
Mhm.
exact way, it acts as the perfect bait. But how would you ever know that kind of detail? Like they're saying to me, Lindsay, I wish I could crack the social media code. Like I hear that from my client, my ears light up, and I say that
Mhm.
on social media. And then all of a sudden I get people being like, how did you know that that's how I felt?
Yes. Yes, because and speaking of social media, you talk about the scalable content machine.
Yes.
'Cause a lot of people go, "Well, what do I post out there?" Okay, I believe social media, and specifically, you're talking about organic social media.
Yes, I am.
But what do I put out there? And you have some great examples in the book too about words. You talked about what words do you use, and one of the things that I hate, and everyone has their uh, pet peeves, is always going right to discounts.
Yeah. You don't want to be doing that. What does that say about you? Walmart always
Mhm.
offers discounts, guys.
Yeah, you
Which
are
is
not a blue
fine. They
light
have a place
special.
in the market for that, but, like, if you wanna make like, the thing is that unless you're doing a lot of volume, which most people are not like, a massive amount of volume, like Netflix and like, Walmart volume, it is
Yeah.
so difficult to make money, and so you have to be real smart about pricing.
So I'm going to tell people to take a little pen and paper out and write this down. Do have be do have,
Yes.
right? Do have be, write that down. And then I'll say cross it out and write be do have. What does that
Yes.
mean?
So in Western, I'm glad you're this kind of goes back to the whole conversation we were having about your business is a mirror. So in Western civilization, especially, it's the common belief that in order to now I'm gonna have to like write this down myself because there was a lot of words there because I usually write a chart here, but
Yeah,
you are
do have be. Yeah.
in order to have the things, this is what Western society believes, okay, in order to have those things, like if I want to have health and wellness, if I want to be in perfect health, okay, then in order to have that, I have to do those things in order to have that so I can finally be healthy. So they really approach it as, what do I want? I want to have a healthy body, and then I have to force myself into doing all these micro actions till I can finally reach the finish line and be that healthy person. But if you swap those around a little bit and instead you start with the B, okay, you show up in the morning that regardless of what's in your reality or what you're waking up to, I am $1 million business owner. This is what, thank you, G Scott. This is what I am. And so like you honestly believe that, okay? Regardless of what is happening around you, and you act that way. And so your micro actions are that way. You put on your pants like $1 million business owner would put on their pants, or whatever it is you want to be, and you start doing micro actions and honestly believing that, then the actions, the doing becomes so much easier because you're just falling in line with your belief system. And then you can actually have what it is that you want so much quicker. So you turn those around.
So there we go. And let's put this book back up. People, look, it's in the carousel. It's free. The Unlaunch Method, brand new book right there. And do have be do have. Maybe you didn't write it down. Doesn't matter. The book is right here. It's all in the book and everything you need to know. And I can tell people, look, not only am I bringing Lindsay on because she's a great person and a friend, I have paid Lindsay to be my coach.
It's true.
And I've
Yeah.
learned a lot. So I'm not telling you to do something that I haven't done. I mean, I've done this, and but you can get the book for free, and that's a pretty good deal. Uh, Also, the paperback. The great thing about Amazon, click add to cart, and then go put in the address of a person that you know who is a struggling entrepreneur, has a business, doesn't quite know why things aren't working the way they should be. Send them this book, and you can be the hero as well. And just let it show up, and they'll go, "Well, what's this?" And what a great investment! A small investment in your business can make a huge difference. And that's one of the things that I like about Lindsay, what about the things that you talk about, is you're not talking about making huge investments, but there is some when you're talking about that scalable content, it's also about consistency. And you have been very consistent for the years in what you post, the messaging, the wording that you use, uh, how you come across, the times of days that you do things, and how you interact with people. So, what are some keys that people need to know about this whole scaling and consistency in posting?
Yeah, posting can be tough because it's a real mindset issue too, because you're putting yourself out there, and a lot of people that I attract, those experts and those coaches and consultants, they're used to walking into a room like in their doctor's coat and getting like immediate respect, like the respect they deserve. But suddenly when you're like doing a video online, you're just like everybody else, and you're not as good because you're practicing, you're developing the skill. And so it stops a lot of people because they don't want to look stupid. They want that respect. But here's the thing is like, when was the last time you saw a subpar video roll up on your feed and you gave it more than a second thought? And I even doubt most people's videos are subpar even, but even if they were, no one is watching. It's called the spotlight effect. You actually think people care more than you do. But in today, like what? It's a 2-second attention span. They forgot about you as soon as you came up on their feed. Honestly, that's why you have to be so freaking consistent all the time. So
Mhm.
don't let that get in your way. Like you have to do a certain, of course, get with a consultant as myself to cut down on how many reps you actually have to do to get good. Maybe instead of 500 videos, you can get to like 100 videos before you're really off and on your way. But no one can save you from having to learn that skill and like doing it. So it's all about consistency. Consistency serves your audience. So content is king, consistency is queen. It's about serving your audience and showing up in a consistent way for them and for you, because you get better every single time you publish a video or do something.
Mhm.
So you just got to put your head down like a robot and freaking do it.
And you've got all the steps right here in the Unlaunch method. It's
That's
in the
right.
carousel. It's free. Click
Free
on
till
it, get the
Friday.
Kindle version, read it tonight. One of the things you talk about is quality over quantity. So consistency is different than quantity. So quality over quantity, and go for engagement and ignore the vanity metrics. But what are vanity metrics?
I love this topic, D Scott, because it brings up this reality show that I was on earlier this year, Netflix. So Netflix had reached out, which by the way, I got on a Netflix reality show, 7 out of 8 episodes, by the way. Okay. The last 2 are named after me. But I got on there because someone from Netflix, a scout, saw my content. So you don't
Awesome.
know who is watching ever, especially this business content, because it is harder to get interaction and engagement on business content, but like people are watching. And so when it comes to quality over quantity, I go on this reality show in the Dominican Republic, and I am surrounded by several people who have 4, 5, 6 times the amount of followers that I have on my social media. They are true social media influencers.
Mhm.
But because we're in the house and talking to them, I happen to find out that not any of them are making any money at all on their social media. And I'm the only one making
Mhm.
money from my social media. And that is because they're posting like an influencer and not a business owner. And so they're posting for the eyeballs, they're posting the good looking, pics, they're posting the easy
Sure.
gets, the pictures of your kids and the quotes, which, yes, there should be a little bit of that like peppered in. But if that is the majority of your content, you will not be able to build the authority and expertise that you need in order to make any sales at all. So I got 4 things. I think you have a graphic for this if you want me to cover it, but there's 4 things you should be posting. There you go. That make you a business owner over an influencer. And for those introverts that don't want to be sharing their dirty laundry online, congratulations. You don't have to. These Scots
Mm.
been around long enough. I shared plenty of dirty laundry online, and it doesn't work that great. So don't worry, you can pull back.
And you don't have to get online and sob your eyes out either.
No, you shouldn't. You run that through the attorney filter. If my attorney was doing this, would I be okay
Mhm.
with that? And so probably not showing up in your jammies every time is probably not the best idea,
Depending on your audience,
depending
but
on your
I think
audience.
I don't want my CPA to be good at dancing necessarily,
No, no,
right?
no dancing required, none of this. Like, that's just easy gets. Easy likes, and, like, easy likes do not equal money at all.
Yeah. Yeah, and in the book, and here's the book, it's free. And we put up a couple of graphics that you've seen, the Millionaire Maker funnel, the VEMS model. These are all in the book and they're explained. The book is free, so I see no reason to hold back. Don't hold back. Get the book. And you have some great tips in there about engagement. And this is not about the big audience. It's not about all of the quantity, but it is about the quality. And you might tell people, you put a post out there, and you go, if you put this word in the
Yes,
comments, then something's going to happen.
that's right.
Let's talk about
So
that.
So that's a big mistake people make on social media. They post all this content and then they're just sitting back, D Scott, being like, when's people gonna throw their money at me? Where's all my customers at? Okay. It does not work that way. It doesn't matter what level you're at. But what you
Hmm.
need is a conversion. We call it a conversion event, something that gets them onto the next step. Like, these are your social media audience is like small children. You have to like lead them by breadcrumbs on the next thing to do. Like, people won't even think to reach out and work with you if they like a piece of content, because they don't even know in what context you even help people. They're just here for the free video. And so, what D. Scott is referring to is one word marketing. This is one of the best ways to do it. I recommend for all business owners, you put this at the end of all your posts, which is, write this down. It is, if you enjoyed what I talked about in this video and you want to know more, I have a free resource that can tell you all about it. Simply put in the word marketing below. So they don't have to sit and think about what to write in the comments. They don't have to do anything hard. You're like, here, 3-year-old, this is the next thing. And that is really one of the most effective ways to get people off of social and into your programs. And you do that every post. Yes, every single post on your feed.
Yeah, you do mention this CTA, call to action, and
Yes.
and that's what you're talking about. You're telling people, you go through this great post, you've given them some valuable information, uh, then you're saying, if you like this, put this word in the comments. But that means that you're going to have to go back and read the comments and then take action.
Like, you as the business owner?
Yeah, yeah, as the business
Yeah,
owner,
yeah,
right?
and here's, people do this content drop and run thing. That's what I call it, content drop and run. You hire a
Mhm,
VA or you put content out there and then you never open up social media again. It's about the people. So if
mhm,
someone DMs you, you should be excited to
right.
be like, "Oh, here's my free resource." Now, obviously there's tools that will automatically do this for you, but you need to be talking to people. I don't want to tell you about those tools because I want you to talk to them.
Drop and run. People can relate to this. I put a story in my book, and I do have my business networking books in the down in
Yeah,
the carousel as
that
well. Scroll around, you can find them. They are not free today, like Lindsay's book. So click Lindsay's book while you're in the carousel. But uh, people can relate to this. I tell a story about going to a networking event, and the person has a stack of cards, and they're going, as we're all having like our little one-to-one conversations. This guy is literally running through the group and throwing cards on the table in front of all of us like he's some blackjack dealer. I don't know who he
okay.
is. I don't know what problem he solves. And I can tell you that card is probably still on that table
Although I'm
because
sure it was really entertaining to watch.
yeah, yeah, but and this is what people are doing on their social media is they're just like throwing all their cards across the room, who going, well, someone's going to pick it up if I buy my cards by 1,000 at a time and I get them out there, but that doesn't work. And this goes back to your whole thing about doing one-on-one, building relationships, and now you're taking that into the social media, right? Being
That's right.
social.
That's
You
right.
talk about that, about being engaged, engaged with people. One of my favorite examples on this is my buddy Ted Rubin. If you make a comment on Ted's one of Ted's posts, he will respond. He doesn't just go like, he will actually respond. He'll like, hey, thanks, buddy. I mean, something,
Definitely. You need to be
right?
doing that. This is your people. Like, what would you do? I learned this on the reality show. What would you do if someone when it was in real life saying this to you? That's how I was approaching all the comments. Like, if someone said this to me in the grocery store, what's my response? Same
Hmm.
thing. If you had a fan be like, "Oh, great video," they take their time, they take their energy and attention and give it to you.
Yeah, let's kind of recap. And I know we're running time. There's just, as we said, 20 years worth of experience, all tied into the book here in the conversation today. So definitely buy the book, which is free. So buying the book is an easy thing to do today. Through Friday, you can click on the book in the carousel, the Unlaunch Method. Get it, read it tonight, implement it tomorrow. That's the best thing you can do. But you talked about working one-on-one to develop the product. We talked about making sure you have that right audience, that one true client that's not an amalgam of other folks, but is truly a real person that buys from you. Talk about scaling the social media, about being engaged with people and building relationships. And now let's talk about this enroll, sell on repeat, because this
Okay.
is you get a whole chapter on there. And what it reminds me of is, and we talked way back at the beginning when we are talking about mindset, that I'm good enough, that I solve people's problems, that I noticed. I was watching the Olympics. I'm a big fan of the Olympics. Snoop Dogg, right, had a
Mhm.
key role in a lot of this stuff, and he's going to be a judge on The Voice, right? So let's just say you're an aspiring singer and you think, I want to hire a coach, and somehow you got the number to call Snoop Dogg, and you got on the phone. Do you think he's going to be trying to sell you to become a client? No, you're hoping that you have a big enough opportunity that he sees in you that he's going to go, I want you as a client.
That's
And I
right.
think enroll, sell on repeat, and everything that leads up to this point is people reaching out to Lindsay and going, wow, I hope she accepts me. And this is what we want people to do. So let's talk about enroll and sell on repeat.
Okay. Okay. And you're right. And that goes back to our sales conversation. If you think people should be begging you, that's the attitude. Like, I am so good. My roster is so full. Like that's really how you want to be coming across. But I believe you're referring to my invite only event when we're talking
Mhm.
about enroll and
Yes.
sell
Yep.
on repeat,
Yep.
because and it really sets you up as this expert in your field. So you post on social media, you build this high quality audience. We already talked about how people aren't just going to be throwing their money at you, but the main problem people have is they don't make a call to action or a next step to people. Like, how do I do more? And so I recommend an invite only event. And what that is basically a 54 minutes, it's very specific, 54-minute masterclass you give on rinse and repeat every single week in your business. And so anyone new you meet at a networking event, anybody new on social media, anyone new in your purview, you start the sales process by saying, hey, we met at that networking event. I wanted to let you know I have a free masterclass coming up called this. If you want a free ticket, let me know. It
Mm.
opens the door to this event. And the invite comes undercover. Like, it's not like a launch where you're telling the whole world about it and they're like, oh, Lindsay does that every week. It's undercover. And so you get people on this invite only event. It works best with intimacy. Okay.
Mhm.
20 people is all you really need to invite. 10 people will come. And that's just the right amount to create enough intimacy that you can basically host a group sales call. And you can let people know I understand your problems. Let people know who you serve and how to resolve their problems, and an aha moment here and there. But you build up enough tension that those individuals that are like, she's got my number. How did she know this? I want to get on a sales call. And so then you make this invite to a sales call, but it's rinse and repeat. You're not making up a new webinar every other week. You have one webinar, you're perfecting this webinar, and it becomes the sharpest tool in your marketing toolbox that you can turn to time and again to get high quality clients.
Yep. I love it. And this whole intimacy, it also creates a this limited demand, or limited availability. right?
Yes.
It's very, this is not, we're going to get thousands of people into this call. It's just like, no, this is just for you, only a small number of people. And that scarcity makes people feel special.
It helps the sales process, the intimacy, they don't get lost, they know that you see them, they said, "Yes, I'll come." Sales is not about one phone call. It is about
Mhm.
everything that happened before that phone call and everything that happens after that phone call.
This intimacy and the use of social media, it just it goes back a little bit in our conversation, but I wanted to bring this up because it if you can use this type of scarcity, this type of intimacy, and leveraging your social media and that right audience. I was thinking of a lady I worked with, and she did very nice custom clothing, limited edition clothing. So she would go to like Thailand for shopping. And so she's in the market and would do Instagram live in the market and get her audience on there and show them, look at these bolts of fabric. Which ones do you think I should buy and use?
Awesome.
Right. And so real time, she's getting feedback from the right audience, right? She's engaging them, but she's only doing it to a limited people. This is not everyone gets to have a voice in what class she selects. Then when she buys that, brings it back, fashions the clothes, there's also kind of an obligation of, well, you said this is the fabric you like. How,
That's right.
how many do you want? Right.
That's right.
And it's limited edition, by the way. Right. So just some great opportunities with building that very small, very engaged audience. And so let's go back to the strategies, the systems, and the sales, and let's get into the sales, because this is another whole chapter you have about the prescriptive sales call.
That's right.
And I tell you, you can be really good at solving a problem, at delivering solutions for people, but if you're going to be an entrepreneur, that third S is critical. If you can't close the sale, then go get a W-2 somewhere. Harsh,
Yeah.
harshly said, but that's the way it goes.
I mean, it's
But
true.
but
It's true.
you have a prescriptive sales call, and I'll remind people the book is free. The Unlaunch Method. Click on it, get it, read it, uh, implement it tomorrow. The prescriptive sales call. You've got a process in there that helps people be successful.
Yeah, I think, along the lines of, first of all, entrepreneurs and small business owners run into a lot of problems around sales. First of all, since when we were young, we see all these messages about if you're a salesperson, you are a swindler, you totally suck. They're trying to get you, like
Mm,
all these negative, used car salesman imagery that entrepreneurs and business owners are fighting against all of the time, right? Like I asked my 8-year-old, what do you think of salespeople? Well, first they'll be nice to you, then they'll take your money, and then they won't talk to you anymore, like pretty simple. And so you're fighting against that. So I always say sales as a service. I thank every mentor or person who sold me something because that's
mhm,
why I am where I am. So you want to be showing up with sales as a service attitude. The other problem people run into with sales is they think if they're like so charismatic and if I get in front of the right people, they'll just like me so much because I'm just a likable, charismatic person that they will buy from me. And it just couldn't be farther from the truth. It is a lie that a lot of people believe that is losing you sales because you get on these calls and you're walking around just trying to schmooze these people when in reality it doesn't really matter if someone likes you. They need to have trust and faith in
mm, mhm.
selling and your professionalism, and if you can actually help them, that's the more important thing. And so I argue in the book that if you aren't using a sales script, meaning you are not writing out the questions that I need to ask the person on the other end of the phone to see if they're even a good client for me. And you can't
Right,
come up with these off the top of your head. You are,
right.
you are, you know what your questions are and you ask them and you're professional about it and you have a whole process and you learn the skill of sales. There's a skill here, then you will be able to close. And as Mark Cuban said, sales, what do you say? Sales fix everything.
Sales cures all.
It cures all. And so learning that skill set is the best skill set you will ever learn.
Yeah, and this method, this authority gap, prescribe. I I like it. I learned the consultative method, right, which is where you're really working like a physician, and you made that you've made that analogy in the book as well, because you're a physician, and people, they don't have to like their doctor, but they do have to believe that they have knowledge, right, the authority. The gap, I want to talk about a little bit about what that gap means, and then prescribing. But you have a great ratio in there. I think it's 90 to 10
90 to 10
in
as
in
far as oh,
yeah,
talking?
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. You talk about some very specific problems that we as entrepreneurs make.
Yeah, you really should only on that sales call, if you are talking more than 10% of the time, you're talking too much. This is about your client and getting information back from them. And, just to reiterate the point about showing I show up like a doctor on these calls, and it's better that way because you don't have to like kiss up to people. You could just show up in your own expertise and ask them and treat it like a doctor. It's like, well, what if they just want to know how much my program is? Well, then you turn it around and you say, would you ever ask a gastrointestinal doc, like, what's the prescription? I don't want to go through all these silly questions. I cannot diagnose your problem unless I
Mhm.
have more information. And that's how you should really approach it. And it's just a better system overall to handle high ticket sales.
Yeah, and understanding the values that the clients have,
Yes,
and what the value of their customers are. So I've got customers that one customer is, one client for them is 30 to $100,000. And so one increment, if I can help them get one incremental sale, that's 30 to $100,000,
that's right.
right? And so what are you willing to invest to make another 30 or 100,000 many times over, right? And this is where people go back to that whole mindset, understand what it is that you do, and what problem you solve, and the value that you bring, and know that's worth it. You want to develop this authority, uh, but you don't do it necessarily by, if I go into the doctor and they're like, yeah, I went to the Harvard Medical School and I interned at, and the whole conversation is about the background, and yeah, I was at the Mayo Clinic and I did this, and then I was in this research thing, and I'm like, yeah, tell me about me. Where's my problem?
That's right.
I'm here for a reason. And that's that gap that they really identify. And you talk about this in the book as well.
Yeah, I would say, the most important piece of information that you can get from a sales call is what do I think they think their biggest problem is? And if you can
Mm,
answer that, that means you're like listening and not talking about yourself. It doesn't matter. I think most business owners have 30 different problems because my perspective is such that I understand you guys have 30 different problems, but I'm not going to convince them of that or of their 30 problems. I've got to start where they're at and hear what they think their problem is and
mhm.
be able to if my program or service matches that, that's what they're looking to solve.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just think about some of these great success stories. There have been many success stories over the 20 years that you've worked with people. And one that comes to mind is selling college testing, the
That's right.
ACT, SAT testing. Josh, it was just a fabulous success story.
Yeah, his specialty is, I mean, talk about a niche, right? He's hitting high quality high school graduates looking to get a score high on their SATs. And like these are working, like college students who are ready to work and hit it. And he can hit the ball out of the park because the pain is, I've got to get a good grade on that. Please
Yeah.
help me.
And then you talk about overselling, right? Or over talking. And so what happens is uh, a lot of people then they're getting very enamored with their own product, right?
That's
So
right.
if Josh was to go into the excruciating detail of what's going to happen, and I bring the analogy of a trainer, because in your book you also talk about like physical training, and if you want to lose weight or something like that, and you hire a trainer, and they tell you, yes, you're going to come at 5 a.m. 5 days a week, and we're going to do kettlebells until you throw up. And yeah, I'm just like, stop. I don't want to be a part of this.
That's right. That's right.
But really getting just enough information so that you can then give them the prescription. This is what you need to do.
That's right. That's right.
And then
You have to
and
meet
then
them where they're at.
and the final thing then, and I know we're running time, and Lindsay, just I was going to thank you for letting us talk today about the Unlaunch Method. Brand new book, free on Kindle. Click the link and read it tonight. Implement it tomorrow. And so, in the last moments, let's talk about that. There are resources in the book that people can get, and optimizing time is a bonus chapter. We don't have time to optimize your time tonight, but how are people going to get a hold of you? Because don't go it alone. You cannot do this by yourself. You need to surround yourself with people who will not let you fail. How do people get a hold of Lindsay and get involved in your programs?
Yeah. So all you need to do is head over to lindsaya.com. So I am always training, I'm always giving a workshop, a live virtual workshop on these topics. If you want to learn my entire method, come to my next live workshop. You'll see what that is by going to lindsaya.com. I have one even tomorrow. So get on there, join me at that live workshop. There's 300 people registered, and I'll walk you through the whole book step by step tomorrow.
All right. So get the book tonight. Get the book now. Read it tonight. Implement it tomorrow on the workshop, lindsaya.com. That's fabulous. I'm going to put this back up. People can see the book. By the way, if you think we've been sounding good, absolutely. We've got a couple of Shure microphones. Those are in the carousel. And because people, I'll tell you what, when you're doing your social content, people will put up with bad video a lot longer than they will bad audio.
It's true.
Invest in a good microphone. Lindsay, thanks for joining us
Scott
today.
recommended this very mic to me, and it's a game changer. So highly
Oh
recommend
my
that.
gosh. Your audio just skyrocketed.
Yeah.
And we want to hear what you have to say because it's good stuff. Thanks for being my coach. I quote you often, by the way. And
Well, thanks,
so
Scott. I should appreciate you. I really do. After all these years, it's really awesome. I love having this interview. I appreciate your support over the years. I really do.
absolutely. Well, hold on a minute. We'll just sign off. Look, the Unlaunch Method, it is in the carousel. The Millionaire Maker podcast is in the carousel. Go ahead and subscribe to that because there is great information there. And we've been hearing from Lindsay Anderson, the reality TV star. You want to learn more about what that meant? Then attend the workshop tomorrow. Become Lindsay's friend. And with that, we're just going to sign off. Thank you, everybody. Have a fabulous day.